You're listening to the longest-running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. It's a full house. Stan C, Romoran, Chino Liao, and Emil Nate for our 12th annual Wrestling Podcast Year-End Awards Show.
12th annual?
Oh, 12th.
Okay.
Wow. We started this in 2014, diba? So that was number 1. Last year was 11. And this year is 12.
I thought we started doing this before the pandemic. But anyway, sige, go.
Yeah, it's our annual Christmas tradition here on the podcast.
Merry Christmas, ass!
By the way, to everybody, favorite sound drop natin yan. Probably just up until mag 3 Kings, and then we'll face it out. But as much as we can spam it, we will.
Merry Christmas, ass!
So yeah. If you're new to this episode of the podcast, this is when we talk about the year that was and we try our best to summarize it by giving you our thoughts on yung respective categories that we have. And every year, meron kami mga set categories, meron kami mga tinatanggal, dinadagdag depending on what happened during that year. And we'll just give our thoughts. And there is no real one winner unless it's a unanimous pick. So it's really just us showing love to everything we liked or everything that caught our attention this year. And because sobrang laki ng world of wrestling, sobrang daming nangyayari, we're pretty sure we're gonna miss out on some stuff. But that's just really how it is.
Yeah. It's just wrestling is subjective, so everything is subjective. These awards are subjective. What you like is subjective, so we just want to show love to what we loved this year.
Yeah, minsan may dodoble yung picks namin, so we'll talk over the same thing, talk about the same thing. Sometimes it'll be something completely out of the box. So this is a good measure of where our minds were in the wrestling year that was 2025.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of good things happened this year. So, let's get done. Let's talk about the good things.
Teka, may bad things din, Emil Nate. This is what we keep you on the podcast for, to bitch about the bad stuff.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
Before we start, Chino, how's your finger? Because for those who obviously don't know, he injured himself in the most Chino Liao way possible.
Nagka-medical emergency ako ng umaga ng we're recording this on a Friday morning, so I had to make myself breakfast. And tulad yan sinabi ni Stan, the most Chino Liao way possible. Okay, I don't know if you can see it. Gamitin natin yung bagong ring light. I cut my finger.
Yung ring light.
Yeah. Salamat, John Cena. Thank you for the house.
Thank you for that. We had to do 120 viewers for Chino to buy a ring light.
At saka headset na maayos. Yan.
Hold up, Chino. Tell everybody why you cut your finger.
I was trying to open I think I did. I was trying to open a bagel. And
there.
The knife slipped. The bagels do something weird. I don't know if it's just mine, pero matigas siya and malambot siya at the same time. Like halfway through, naging bato siya. So dun siya dumulas. So hindi ko alam kung bakit ganun, but alas, that is where we are, and we power through. Para na akong si Nick Gage. I gigged myself.
Sure. Well, thank you for powering through, Chino. We really appreciate you sucking it up and playing through the pain.
Being a big boy. That's right.
All right. So, ang dami nating pag-uusapan. So, let's get to our first category for the Year-End Awards, and that is the Rookie of the Year. And traditionally here on the pod, and we can actually say traditionally now, since 12th edition na to ng awards na to, the Rookie of the Year goes to somebody who moves to a different promotion on a larger scale. So, for example, you're moving up from NXT to the main roster of WWE, or you're going from the Indies to WWE or AEW or TNA, or you're going from New Japan to an American promotion. So that's basically the gist of Rookie of the Year. So let's start with Emil. Who's your Rookie of the Year?
All right, my Rookie of the Year is from Evolve/NXT at this point. It's Kendall Gray. I am not shy to mark out for Kendall Gray here on the podcast because lately she is having a great run here in NXT, diba? Currently she's the Evolve champion, but at the same time she just won the Iron Survivor match, which is which surprised us all because there were a lot of names in that match na we thought would win that match, but they gave it to Kendall Gray. Like I've been saying, she's really good. She's really good. Kurt Angle vibes, people were comparing her to Kurt Angle already. Yeah, I'm just really impressed by her initial run here in Evolve this year. And di na ako magulat if NXT permanent na siya by next year kasi she really is the star of that promotion as of the moment.
Yeah, Kendall Gray is, for all intents and purposes, an NXT talent naman talaga. Like, she did start on NXT before getting moved to Evolve with all of the other up-and-comers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kendall Gray is also a pretty sleeper hit of a wrestler, if you know what I mean. Because she was under everybody's radar for the first part of the year, and then all of a sudden Evolve happens. She beats Scotty Armstrong, who was very dominant as a champion. Tapos biglang ending, number one contender na siya for the main NXT Women's Championship. So it's a pretty huge upswing for somebody that's a relative unknown.
Yeah, no. Si Kendall naman, actually, she had been doing the level up circuit before this year. So
That's right.
technically, hindi siya counted, but also nobody saw level up anyway. So I guess we can kind of pseudo count it since this was her breakout year. Technically, must breakout dapat siya. But sige, pagbibigyan, even the creative writer for NXT doesn't watch the other product.
Yeah, I
Good
only
job,
saw
Kanye.
her this year, so that's why I'm kind of counting her as my rookie of the year.
Yeah, that's still a knock on you, Emil. Ro, who's your rookie of the year?
Yeah, we're showing love to a lot of women here, but I think we should also not forget the stars that they did pick up off of the independents and Japan. So my pick for rookie of the year is Sean Legacy. A lot of people didn't have him on their radar before this year. I had kind of been seeing his works at Noah before this year. That's where I believe WWE picked him up from for the ID project, the ID program, and he is the guy. He is the next guy. He's got the look. He's huge. He's jacked. He's probably not super tall, but he can move like cruiserweight. He has the full package. Pause. I feel like yung pag-push sa kanya, even though he's not the men's Evolve champion right now, it's gonna lead to a breakout year probably within the next 3 years.
Yeah, I like what we're seeing out of Super Sean Legacy. Like, he's the white meat baby face of Evolve right now, and I think they stumbled onto something with him. Well, hindi man stumbled kasi hindi naman accidental. I'd like to think na it was actually planned very well how they position him as the baby face of Evolve. And
Tsaka you wouldn't get over you wouldn't get booked in Noah if you're not nothing. If you're nothing.
Tama rin. He's relatively young. He's like in his late 20s, 27, 28. And I think, sooner than later, magta-transition na rin yan to being part of NXT. So, that's definitely someone to watch out for.
I'm
Yeah,
actually
no.
okay, Gino, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything everybody said. What I will say is, he reminds me a lot of Neville, especially yung early days niya sa NXT. The whole good-sided Neville, diba yung light equivalent ng Pac na yun, right? So it's a lot of very similar. The physique is very similar. Their move sets are also very similar in terms of high flying and yung structure nila. So ang ganda din yung kuha nila from the indies with Super Sean Legacy.
I'm actually surprised at this point he hasn't gotten the same push that Kendall Gray is getting in the NXT on the NXT program. But,
Because he isn't signed to WWE full time.
okay, he's still WWE ID.
ID
But yeah,
pa rin siya.
I think at this point he's bound to be signed with WWE because he's really that good. And yeah, we should expect more of Sean Legacy in the future.
All right, my rookie of the year is Stephanie Vaquer, and she counts as a rookie only because she moved from NXT to the main roster earlier this year, and she had she made quite a splash on the main roster. Granted, ang laking tulong na Naomi got pregnant and so the Women's World Championship had to be vacated. I still think it's a good thing, all things considered, diba? Especially since Naomi and Big Jim are really happy and excited about the baby. So it just opened up the opportunity for Stephanie Vaquer to continue this white hot run that she'd been on basically since she debuted on NXT sometime last year. And ever since then, yung popularity niya carried her over to the Women's World Championship and she's backed it up with outstanding performance after outstanding performance. Add to that how she does have the certified baddie card and everybody is basically gooning and stumping for Stephanie Vaquer. So for those reasons, she's my Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue with that. I mean, there is a reason why they called her up. Call-ups medyo cheat code din eh, pero not every call-up gets successful. So the success that Stephanie had was inevitable. It was bound to happen sooner or later. As you mentioned, it just so happened that Naomi got pregnant, so she had to vacate the championship.
I'm glad na
tsaka
na-continue. Sige. Chino.
medyo madaya din yung Stephanie Vaquer because she has tenure in not just the indies but in Japan and in AAA in Mexico as well. So she already had that going for her, and then she gets called into the WWE and to do all these other things. So talagang upswing lang talaga itong nakukuha ni Stephanie Vaquer at this point. Not to say that she isn't a rookie. I believe that she still is because this is the big leagues we're talking about here. But the fact that she has already accomplished so many things before she even got to one of the biggest wrestling companies in the world just goes to show na magaling talaga siya.
Yeah, really great year for Stephanie Vaquer. Like, she really got over real quick, diba, compared to the other call-ups at that time. And yeah, congrats to Stephanie for one hell of a year.
Oh, Chino, you're Rookie of the Year. I'm looking at it. I'm not sure we can count it.
Bakit? Dahil ba legend na siya sa labas ng industriya?
Oh, sige, justify why El Grande Americano is your Rookie of the Year. Let's see if you can. Let's let
My
you
Rookie of the Year is exactly who Stan said. It's El Grande Americano because remember, this is a new El Grande Americano. This is not the same El Grande Americano supposedly that was Chad Gable, right? So this new El Grande Americano really grabbed the bull by its horns. Yung opportunity na binigay sa kanya, really, he used it to catapult himself onto a stage that nobody expected he'd be on, right? Na hindi siya, naging face siya, not only that, it wasn't that just because naging face siya, but also because he was able to transition out of a gimmick that was supposed to be temporary and utilize it to his advantage, that he essentially vied for the AAA Mega Championship, diba? Umabot pa siya dun sa ganun level eh. And nobody expected that because it was a joke gimmick. It was a parody of Lucha Libre, diba? And yet, now, cheer na siya ng mga tao sa Mexico. He's doing full promos in Spanish. Diba? He only speaks Spanish, sorry. So, the fact na nagkaroon tayo ng respeto for somebody that started out as a joke gimmick is really amazing to me kasi he really knows how to, the person behind the Grande Americano really knows how to utilize the time that was given to him. So that's why I think it was spectacular and noteworthy.
Yeah, I think this is most improved than Rookie of the Year. Pero sige, in the spirit of Christmas, pagbibigyan kasi technically it is a new character. But next time, be guided by the fact that this isn't, this is just a lateral move, But yeah, can't argue with that. Ludwig Kaiser made the gimmick his own. And because he can actually speak Spanish, whether or not he was learning that shit or memorizing his lines beforehand, or talagang marunong siya because he is European, elevated the gimmick a lot more.
Remember when the gimmick was controversial at the beginning?
Cheering na siya sa Mexico.
Oh, exactly. He made the
Chad Gable was also being cheered in Mexico.
They made the gimmick from something that's very controversial to something that sticks. And the Mexican people love him now.
Yeah, I would have also just put El Grande Americano in a different category. Tama naman yung mga sinabi ni Chino, just, the placement of the category is something I wouldn't fully agree with. But whatever, let's move on. All right, our next category is self-explanatory. It's most improved wrestler. So I'm gonna start with mine, Maxine Dupree. We've sung her praises on the pod for weeks, and kita naman diba yung improvement niya in the ring, the training with Natty is paying off, and it speaks for itself because she's now Women's Intercontinental Champion. She beat Becky Lynch in Madison Square Garden, and now she's got a target on her back, and I can't wait to see her continue to defend the title.
Yeah, Maxine Dupree started out as a valet and sister to one Max Dupree, diba? So, the fact na nanggaling siya from a non-wrestling, non-contact character or background to suddenly becoming a shooter, ang galing din kasi nung transition niya from that. Now, she put on muscle, she started training with Natalia a lot more. The vignettes that they cut in the dungeon are fire. So the fact that they were able to turn somebody who wasn't a wrestler into a legitimate wrestler really goes to show that the WWE Performance Center works and that they can really turn anybody into wrestlers.
Speaking of people who weren't wrestlers turning into wrestlers, my pick for most improved is Harley Cameron from AEW. So I don't quite know if she was supposed to be a Performance Center prospect kasi kasabayan niya si Shotzi and I forgot who's the other part of the trio.
Scarlett Bordeaux.
Scarlett Bordeaux, yeah, there you go. But
I don't think that she was. I think she was just in the orbit kasi asawa niya that is si diba?
Right.
Zion Quinn.
No, they had a girl group together.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. But, I didn't know that she was married to Zion. But anyway, yes. So Harley Cameron is, I believe, in their third actual year of pro wrestling, and much like the people on NXT, she was thrust in a really deep end here in AEW kasi ang kasabay mo talaga dyan is indie trained wrestlers, Japan trained wrestlers who didn't go through the slower pace of the WWE style. And every month, every week, every appearance, you can see how much better Harley Cameron is getting. And they rewarded that with a run as the first ever AEW Women's World Tag Team Champions. So it's amazing that your first championship in pro wrestling is the inaugural championship reign of this new title, and it's with someone who is as experienced as Willow facing off against as in legit, no pun intended, elite women's wrestlers of the world. So congrats, Harley Cameron. You really outdid yourself.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Emil, who's your pick for most improved of the year?
All right, so my pick is Raquel Rodriguez. I think Kevin Nash said something to like spark this run that she's having.
He said she needed to work like a bigger woman.
And she did. She noticeably on after that, she has been working, like a big wrestler, like a powerhouse, kumbaga. And it really propelled her from being just a good wrestler to now being a great wrestler. And I love watching her work this year. She really shined in tags and also in singles as well. So sobrang laking improvement niya this year talaga. And it's because she really took someone's advice to heart and really like worked on it and ran away with it. So congrats, Raquel Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm. Chino, who's your most improved pick of the year?
Okay, dito tayo nagkalituhan, no? Kasi dapat ito yung nilagay ko sa Rookie of the Year. But
clearly.
My most improved wrestler of the year is Leon Slater. Leon Slater, well, I can defend it pa rin naman.
Sure.
Leon Slater, kasi already has tenure then, just like Stephanie Vaquer and everybody else we've mentioned. Kasi he's also been on an indie run before he even got signed to TNA, diba? He was on New Japan, he was on all of these other things, right? But the fact that he was able to upgrade himself, kumbaga, and be on the level of the Hardys, and be on the level of everybody else on NXT, really just goes to show na hindi pa niya na-reach yung limit niya, which is also kind of dumb to say kasi 20-something pa lang siya, diba? So pag nag-peak ka na ng 20-something, medyo ano na yun, masama na yun, right? But the fact is, Leon Slater is out here paying homages to his heroes while also putting out showstoppers at such a young age. Hindi lang siya high flyer, he's also a showman, diba? He also is able to evolve with the wrestling that happens in the ring, and he's really able to transition himself outside of just being a high flying guy, right? And that's amazing about him. Pero the fact that he's out there putting on these shows really just goes to show that hindi pa siya nagka-cap dun sa kaya niyang gawin. So that's why I picked Leon Slater.
All right, so congrats to our most improved wrestlers of the year. Up next, we've got Breakout Wrestler of the Year. Ito rin medyo self-explanatory, who made a big name for themselves this year, elevating themselves a bigger position than they were the previous year. So, Chino already talked about El Grande Americano, which is why I'm not going to speak any further on it. But, El Grande Americano / Ludwig Kaiser is my pick for Breakout Wrestler of the Year. Ro.
All right, my pick for Breakout Wrestler of the Year took the whole world by storm nung summer.
Yeah!
Yeah.
The Breakout Reptile of the Year, Mr. Iguana from
Iguana Mania!
Insane, man. Like, literally, this guy, this reptile, was on no one's radar. Kasi, people don't watch a lot, and people here at least don't watch a lot of Lucha Libre na homegrown talaga. Like, our biggest exposure was Lucha Underground and, the occasional CMLL appearances on AEW in New Japan. But from a mid-carder that nobody literally took heed of or literally knew about to one of the biggest main roster, hindi naman signing, hindi pa ata signing, pero main roster revelations. Kasi after his breakout moment as the character, there were even rumors that he was getting signed, which he reportedly sabotaged as well because he couldn't keep his mouth shut. But yeah, Mr. Iguana almost single-handedly propped up the reputation of Lucha Libre among people who tended to mostly watch WWE. Now, I don't mean that as an insult, but more of people for enlightened with how much good crazy Lucha Libre is because of a character like Mr. Iguana.
Let's also note here, kasi wala to sa items natin, na ang laking bunga nito nung pag-acquire ng WWE sa AAA.
Sure.
I think that is one of the biggest news stories of 2025, that WWE went out and bought AAA and has integrated it into the product.
Ngayon,
So,
may utang sila na malaki.
I'm not going to delve on that for obvious reasons. I don't want to get my ass in trouble.
It's not an insult. It's just a fact of life. It's
I'm
news.
not going to talk more about it. Okay, let's go to Chino for his Breakout Wrestler of the Year.
Yeah, my breakout wrestler of the year is Javon Evans. Now, we know Javon. We know what he's about on NXT. But the larger wrestling public got to know him a little bit more from his main roster appearances. Diba? He was on SmackDown quite a bit. He was featured on the last show ever of John Cena. So the fact that he's getting all this exposure and killing it each and every time really is deserving to call him the breakout wrestler of the year.
I just want to comment real quick. I know we're trying to avoid comments right now in the interest of time, but I tend to not agree with the Tony fumbled chants. But if there was anyone that Tony really fumbled, it's Jay Malachi. It's Javon Evans. So he didn't know what he had with Javon Evans until NXT brought it out of him.
Yeah, parang I don't recall seeing Jay Malachi on Dynamite or Collision.
Yeah, he was an enhancement talent on Dark kasi.
Yeah.
All right. Sige, Emil, who's your Breakout Wrestler of the Year?
All right, so my breakout wrestler of the year goes to Kyle Fletcher. Diba? He started out the year as the one half of Aussie Open. Kyle Fletcher, he did the heel turn, did a complete transformation. Kinalbo niya yung sarili niya and really went out there and delivered bangers, diba, as the TNT champion. And now he's doing the same thing in the Continental Classic. And he elevated himself from someone who was middling in the mid card, now possibly getting into that main event scene now.
Let's get to our next category. It is the WTF moment of the year. So ito yung mind-blowing, either good or bad, or just really made you go, what the fuck? For whatever reason. And that's a sobrang daming ganap in 2025. I'm sure hindi tayo magkukulang dito. I'm gonna start with mine, and it's R-Truth. It was a shock to everybody when R-Truth was among the names that were released from WWE, diba? Sobrang lakas ng reaction on the internet. Everybody just loves R-Truth, and the reactions to him being let go from the company were a testament to that. Sa sobrang lakas ng clamor and ng reactions, R-Truth was back like 2 weeks later. And, you know, he came back edgier. He brought in the Ron Killings character, shaved his dreads, and then he admitted in an interview na ganun na rin, sinabayan niya na with the hair loss and everything. And then now, he's back to being R-Truth, Ron Cena. You know, so just this entire saga of R-Truth being let go and then coming back and then having the character development, having that quick feud with John Cena.
My what the fuck moment of the year goes to a moment that people seem to feel two ways about, but it goes to Seth Rollins cashing in his Money on the Bank shot after we all thought he was supposed to be
that's a good pick.
out of action for what, 6 months, diba? Parang ganon. Then apparently hindi pala siya injured. He drops the crutches, walks straight to the ring, and cashes in on Punk, diba? Cashes in on Punk. It's poetic in a lot of ways, and I'm sure if you back listen to the episodes we talk about it, may malalaman nyo kung bakit, diba? Or if you're just an avid wrestling watcher. But to keep it short, I like it a lot because we were all swerved. We were all worked. Even the boys in the back didn't know na hindi talaga totoo yung injury ni Seth Rollins. And yun yung medyo may disagreement na nangyari, right, with everybody online. But ako as a fan, as a pure avid wrestling watcher, I really appreciated that the lengths that they took in order to pull this off. So this is why it's my what the fuck moment of the year.
That's a great call, Chino. Yeah, my pick needs no further explanation. I think it was the most mind-blowing moment this year outside of the Seth Rollins Rules of the Century. It's John Cena's heel turn, guys. It was the thing that most fans waited for during the height of, you know, Cena's peak, and he delivered it in his last year. That's it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next up, we've got catchphrase of the year. So I'm gonna shout out John Cena for the Never Seen 17 and the Last Time Is Now. Kasi it's basically yung parang banner tagline for 2025. Diba? We knew that this year was gonna be his farewell tour. So the entire year, puro the Last Time Is Now t-shirts, yung pag-announce sa kanya ni Alicia Taylor as the Never Seen 17, which he carried over to the babyface run post heel turn. So, you know, the Never Seen 17 is actually a pretty catchy name. You know, I'm really happy that Cena stuck with it, and you know, for all of those reasons, tumatak siya sa akin enough for me to call it catchphrase of the year. Now,
It's not a catchphrase. It's not actually a catchphrase, though.
I mean, it's a tagline.
I mean, mas catchphrase pa yung after this you can't see me.
Or the last time is now.
Yeah,
sure.
I actually love how by the end of this year, nakikisabay na yung mga tao kay Alicia Taylor.
Actually, yeah.
She's like, kasi it's consistent eh, yung ano niya, yung mga lines na yun. So people nakikisabay na sila, which I love.
Tapos pinalit niya from gracing you with his presence one last time, naging celebrating with you all one final time. So, you know, I thought it was pretty good. All right, let's get to the near unanimous pick from the rest of you.
I'll explain it. Nobody could escape Yeet. Mm-hmm. Like, Jey Uso was running it back. Everyone was partying, even though people hated Yeet so much on social media. Again, as always, the live crowds tell a different story. Like, people love that shit, even though I'm sure there were people in the crowd who thought it was corny. Well, the yeeting, the dancing, the theme was infectious. You cannot escape it. One word, 4 letters.
4 letters, one word.
Yeet. Which is technically 6 letters now if you add the but you know,
10.
wala
10
nang
letters.
question eh. Wala nang question eh. Ganun siya kalakas, diba? Ganun siya, that's how catchy it is. The world over was eating with Jey Uso, like it or not, and the fact that it took the world by storm, especially after you consider na lasing si Jey Uso nung una niyang ginawa yung Yeet. It really just goes to show how big a deal it was in 2025.
Yeah, we just can't deny how catchy it is. Diba? Ang dali sabihin eh. And it caught on real quick, and people are still people are still not tired of eating. It's been a year now, but they're still not tired of eating.
All right. Let's get to the memes. For all the shit posters on the internet, lalo na si Ro, our resident shit poster. Wrestling meme of the year. We'll start with Ro since this is his domain.
Yeah, John Cena was in a lot of memes this year for sure. But the meme that kicked it off this year was his heel turn. So I almost forgot about this. I almost forgot the legendary face that he made when he was hugging Cody and taking orders from The Rock, diba? Which never materialized to anything. It is so iconic that it's still being used to this point in the year for anyone who wanted to depict or portray yung secret na puot or secret na villainy from from something something pleasant that they want to show outside. It's so iconic that my friends and I use the face to signal when someone we don't like in the office is around. So yeah, it's almost forgotten because of the Piknistan, but it was also a pretty good contribution by Cena this year.
Yeah, iconic siya because even yung mga non-wrestling fans use it, yung heel turn frown.
Yeah.
I've seen it from non-wrestling friends on social media.
Right.
Since Ro mentioned it, I'm gonna get to mine, which is the John Cena smile when he tapped out to Gunther. This one is new. This one is just about a week old, pero ganun din. I'm seeing it on my feed ad nauseum from wrestling fans and non-fans alike.
Oh, sobrang dami na.
Yeah, diba? Si Ro was telling us on Discord na all-time status na siya because it's literally the moment when Cena retired.
Yeah.
Diba, kahit na bago siya, kahit na may recency bias, I think we'll see the John Cena smile for the next half year at least into 2026.
Sometimes I wonder if he knows that his faces will become memes because he's very expressive, as an actor then. So, parang halos lahat ng ginagawa na nagiging meme.
Yeah.
Kahit hindi wrestling pages ginagamit yung picture na yun.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think he does though, because Cena himself is very self-aware.
Yeah.
Diba? With everything going on the internet, so I think he does.
All right, Chino, Emil, you guys are sharing the same meme of the year. What is it?
Yes, say his name when he appears. I love kasi it has become a trope in NXT na talaga. But diba, remember there was a match. I think that was Dark State and Hank and Tank.
Yeah.
That was, I don't know who was a Tank or I think it was Tank who said
No, it was
Joe
Hank.
Hendry. Tapos lumabas si Joe Hendry to interfere. So nakakatawa talaga. They made that line, that first line into a trope.
Superpower.
Yeah, exactly. A superpower. Yun nga eh. Just say his name and he appears, diba? In any situation. So it's one of the funniest things out of NXT this year. Definitely.
I also love the ridiculousness of the trope in terms of where he pops up from. Diba? Refs.
Basurahan.
Out of nowhere, basurahan, diba? Magpapan lang yung camera, nandun na siya. It's pretty insane na ganun nila ka-literal tinake yung first line na yun.
Teka lang, Chino, was this a TNA thing? Kasi this was a TNA thing.
It was also
diba?
a TNA
Yeah,
thing.
no.
It was also a TNA
The
thing.
NXT version of Joe Hendry kind of reset the gimmick kasi when he was last in TNA, he was already a main eventer and he was a world
right.
champion. So
Medyo
they-
seryoso na siya noon.
yeah, they deviated away from the game from the superpower.
But he was feuding with AJ Francis, formerly known as Top Dollar. Doon siya naging mas kengkoy pa ng konti. But that was the last time. It happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now it's gotten to a point where but even yung mga main roster stars are getting involved, diba? From Saturday night's main event. Sina Miz and R-Truth took part in the Joe Hendrification of everything. So yeah.
Right.
Honorable mention for meme of the year, yung WWE Unreal. Remember the introduction scene?
yeah,
Para, my name is ganito. My government name is ganito. Si Charlotte Flair was like, my family called me Pinky or something. So that was pretty funny. I did like how people memed that then shortly after Unreal was released on Netflix.
Yeah.
Our next category, ito, we are treating this with so much love and care because this is named after our very own Emil Nate. Hindi pa siya pumapanaw, meron na siyang award named after him, like Bill Russell. Except Emil Nate didn't have to be a senior citizen to get that recognition.
Brian Danielson has an award named after him.
Yeah, that too. This is the Emil Nate Playa Nate of the Year Award. And if you don't know what Playa Nate is, you've been missing out on all of the spraks ni Emil Nate on the Wrestling podcast. So this basically goes to the biggest hater this year for whatever reason. Let's start with Chino's Playa Nate of the Year.
My Playa Nata of the year, it goes out to the one and only Bill Goldberg. That's right. Cannot let this award pass without giving Bill some slack, some shade here. Dahil nga, binigyan na siya ng retirement tour, hindi pa siya na-satisfied.
Yeah.
They gave him a finger, he wanted the hand. They gave him the hand, they wanted the whole damn arm. Parang, when are you gonna be satisfied here, Bill? You know, when does it stop, right? So it was a whole thing after he retired. Nagreklamo pa siya non-stop kasi pinutol daw yung speech niya. Kesyo ganito, kesyo ganon, right? But, you know, at the end of the day, he's still a hater. He's gonna go out a hater, and that's why he wins this award for me.
I just want to comment real quick. When Goldberg got the shaft in his retirement, nobody complained. Nobody complained that it wasn't like Sting's. Diba? It was only until
diba?
it was only until Cena lost to Gunther that people started complaining.
Wala eh. Okay lang na matalo si Goldberg eh. For a lot of people. You know, and he still bitched about it though.
Ro and I share our pick for Playa Nate of the Year, but I'll let Ro explain this one.
Yeah, it's Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre has worked overtime on social media, upped his social media game tenfold. He even imitated some people we know back here. But yeah, his was really more entertaining. It wasn't, paired with the constant need to win all the time. It was just really to entertain the fans on social media.
Hindi rin siya too insidery.
Yeah. Everything was obviously you can easily pick up on it kasi diba, it was based on everything that was happening on screen. So Drew McIntyre takes this one because he kept it up, especially on Cody Rhodes. Everyone he came across over the past couple of years, no one was spared on social media, and he was genuinely funny about it.
Hindi, tsaka it added to the story. Kasi yung mga posts niya dinadagdag sa sa screen, 'di ba? Sa shows. So like that's not the same thing we can say for the shit that we had to go through in PWR. 'Di ba? Hindi naman nakadagdag value sa stories nun eh. Emil, who's your Playa Nate of the Year?
All right, so my Playa Nate of the Year goes out to Bret Hart. Because every time I would hear something about Bret Hart, it's him bitching about something. Again, I meant no disrespect, but it's really been that way this year. Now every time na lang nalalabas siya sa headline, he's gonna complain about how modern wrestling it's just not it for him, or wrestlers are
Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon were lovers.
yung pa like bakit puro nilang bad vibes kay Bret Hart?
No, I can answer that. It's because the people who interview him, ginagatasan siya. Hindi rage baiting. Ginagatasan siya talaga. They know that he has some wacky, bitter opinion about everything. So they know that in order to get clicks, to get listens, they'll egg him on and have him say something bitter.
Basically what we do with you, Emil.
Yeah, he's the inspiration for the
Rage
segment,
bait.
basically.
I don't get to see CM Punk si Bret Hart eh. Number one pettiness.
Next up, we've got the promo or segment of the year. We have a near unanimous pick, But we'll go with Chino's first kasi kanya yung naiiba.
Yes, my pick goes out to, and I'm glad I did this filling out last minute kasi naalala ko siya bigla. It's the Dynamite segment between where Renee Paquette sits down with Timeless Tony Storm and Mariah May. This came out earlier this year, a little earlier this year, sabi ni YouTube 9 months ago. But this is a thing that I remember to this day kasi it's such a poignant statement in this rivalry, this blood feud, essentially, that Tony Storm and Mariah May had for the better part of this year. Ang ganda lang ng pagkatuldok ditong feud na to in the fact that that Tony Storm was able to deconstruct who Mariah May was in one promo, diba? And really break down Mariah May to the core, to the point na masasabi lang ni Mariah May is duraan si Tony Storm, right? And if you watch the segment now, parang especially with what happened on NXT this week, parang makita mo na, oh my God, baka may point na Timeless Tony Storm, diba? I don't know if you guys talked about this in the live stream, but the fact that it was mentioned at the early part of 2025 and coming to fruition at the end of this year, may goes to show na ang ganda lang talaga ng pagka-produce nitong segment na to. And that's why it wins my promo of the year.
Yes,
We'll discuss the curse when the time comes.
Yeah, speaking of that, naiinis ako sa ibang mga AEW sickos who uses there's the one line in that promo to like mock Blake Monroe's NXT run so far.
Oh,
Like,
what's the line?
I forgot the line, but it was
sentence
something.
you to a career of
die,
mediocrity.
Yeah,
die in
I-
obscurity, something like that.
I really don't like that. Like that's a way cheap, low blow stuff from these people, man.
But it will reach Madden curse levels of urban legendary.
Oh nga, yeah.
All right, let's get to our near unanimous pick. Kami nila Emil and Ro, we all picked John Cena's pipe bomb on SmackDown against CM Punk. So to set the stage, they were feuding, diba, over the WWE Championship, and then it was Punk who had gone through the table. Basically, binaligtad ni Cena yung entire pipe bomb scene from 2011. And then, I'll share my story as it was happening in the moment. We're translating kami ni Carlo, and then I'm listening to what Cena is saying and translating it in Tagalog, and like midway through I'm like, holy shit, he is recreating the pipe bomb. So like my brain in the moment was working extra, diba? It was working overtime to like make sure I catch the references and be able to translate it in Tagalog with appropriate context. And just listening to it again in English, sobrang na-appreciate ko how Cena took the time to rewatch the promo and then to write it down and then work with whoever he had to work with to make sure that it mirrored the sentiments that Punk had back in 2011 to really drive home the point na you, CM Punk, have become the very person that you once hated. So I loved it.
First few lines pa lang, alam ko na eh. Kasi those are the... like, as someone who has memorized the CM Punk promo, those first few lines pa lang sinabi ni Cena, like, oh shit, this is the pipe bomb. This is his version of the pipe bomb. And I popped like a motherfucker watching that promo. And it led to one of my viral tweets this year where I called an Easter egg. With the names that Cena has mentioned in that promo and who I thought they are supposed to be, or taking a shot at CM Punk. So yeah, it was one of the best moments of his heel run, yung promo na yun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not gonna add to it much. It was cinema because it was written to be cinema. It was a carefully crafted moment that obviously was a callback, and you can't do a callback without, being deliberate about it. So it was the most cinema of cinema this year, and there was a lot of good segments and promos this year.
I just also want to show love to Hangman and Swerve. Yung interactions nila during the build to All In. Honorable mention to. Kasi I loved how Hangman and Swerve had their moments backstage where Hangman was saying na you deserve it, referring to Swerve getting his house burned. And then Swerve inamin niya na I know. And then they had a tete-a-tete pa in the locker room about a week before All In where they put their cards on the table. And it was like as close as you'll get to an apology from someone who really needed to apologize to another character in wrestling, which is very rare, 'di ba? Bilang ko sa kamay yung times na wrestlers actually say sorry to one another in character. Like I can remember Seth finally apologizing to the Shield for turning on them, and then this one, and not much else. So, that really stuck with me throughout the year kasi it was very inspired writing.
Yeah, agree.
Let's take a quick Emil Nate dance break. When we come back, we've got the second half of our 2025 Year-End Awards show.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov, the Czar, and you're listening to the Wrestling Podcast.
Our next category is the non-wrestling wrestling media of the year. So, as an example, last year we picked things like the Mr. McMahon documentary or the Wrestlers documentary. So, hindi siya exactly a wrestling match, but it's wrestling media, diba? So, if you want to pick something like a Chris Van Vliet interview or yung vlog ni Maven, hey guys, Maven here. Yon, qualified yon. That being said, my pick is Charlotte Flair's Players Tribune essay. It was a great essay, mostly because...
Yeah, really good. Agree.
Ang ganda ng pagkakasulat, it unmasked Charlotte Flair finally, and third, it actually turned her face.
Yeah.
Like it had such a profound effect on the Charlotte Flair presentation, especially given what happened between her and Tiffany Stratton in WrestleMania. Bigla na lang Charlotte Flair drops the essay and the sympathy was so organic towards Charlotte Flair and it led to the Alexa Bliss tag team run. And now, Charlotte just has to come out and get naturally cheered, which I think everybody wanted out of Charlotte for the last decade. All it took was for her to be vulnerable in a Players Tribune essay, and holy crap, it was a game changer.
If I'm Mercedes, I am paying attention to this move. I'm keeping this in the pocket. Yeah, that was really good. Who knew people could still read?
Speaking of reading and essays, Rose pick is also from the Players Tribune.
Really good wrestling stuff from the Players Tribune this year. Mine is Rey Mysterio's letter to Eddie Guerrero on the 20th anniversary of his death. It's really good. It is, again, nung una, it felt like these were PR written releases from, I don't know, from agents, from publicists, or from ghostwriters.
Ghostwriters.
It felt that way, but between the Charlotte and the Ray letters, I know that at least for these two, sila talaga nagsulat. If not, they have some really, really good ghostwriters. But yeah, this was really good. It was a moving, heartfelt tribute. I feel like I think they were the realest words that Ray has ever spoken or written since Eddie's death.
Because he hasn't opened much much about Eddie's death. He didn't visit Eddie's grave until much later on.
Yeah. And again, this is a letter that was directly addressed to Eddie. So talagang heartfelt siya. And if you haven't read it yet, if you miss Eddie, if you were around for Eddie's peak, you should go watch. You should go read this. It's there. One of the best pieces of creative writing you'll see in sports this year.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to Chino for his pick.
So my pick is a little different because it's a more it's how you say it? It's experiential media.
Yeah,
That's what I was trying to say. Hindi siya article, hindi siya series. It's the Firefly Funhouse Haunted House that they put up during Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios Orlando. So the reason I picked this is because number one, I am a Bray Wyatt fan and a fan of his legacy, and the fact that they were able to put up a haunted house that honors the spirit and the ideas of the Wyatts and Bray Wyatt himself really just goes to show na walang limits on wrestling, diba? It's not as limiting as people think it is, diba? And you're able to transition outside of the ring, outside of the screen even, and really bring people into your world. Now, obviously, hindi ako nakapunta dito sa haunted house na to, but with all the walkthroughs that were available online, makikita mo talaga how accurate everything was. To the depiction of the Wyatt Six debuting in Gorilla, to the homages that they paid both Bray and Luke Harper, and hell, even Alexa Bliss, na kasama din doon sa experience na yan. So, really good stuff from both Universal Studios, si Bray Wyatt himself, and the WWE.
Mm-hmm. All right, Emil, what's your pick?
My pick is a very recent one, actually. It is a video that WWE uploaded
The
days
500
before
days of Cena.
days before the John Cena's last match. So basically, it is a video of WWE's superstars paying tribute to John Cena with the song "Simple Disposition" in the background.
Sweet Disposition by the
Sweet
Temper
Disposition.
Trap.
Sorry, that was on me. Yeah, Sweet Disposition playing in the background. That's when it hit me. The Cena was retiring. That when I watched that video. That, oh goddamn, this is it. And I was kind of emotional watching this because of the song, because of the song, really. Like, something about that song kind of hits you, and they did a good job with this one. So this is my pick.
All right. Next is one of our legacy categories. Ever since we started the podcast, favorite namin to ni Ro, this is new wrestling theme of the year. So dapat lumabas siya or una siyang ginamit ng wrestler in the year that was, in this case 2025. Let's start with Chino. It's New Lows by the Wonder Years, yung
Yes,
entrance
from-
theme ni Becky Lynch.
From Becky Lynch. It's rare that you get a mainstream, not mainstream, but a popular band appear on wrestling product nowadays. Kasi with the differences of licensing and yung rights, diba? And getting that band to say yes. So the fact that Becky Lynch was able to get one of her favorite bands, and a band I'm somewhat familiar with, to appear on WWE programming is such a big deal, diba? It's also a song that's very polarizing and really speaks to the character of Becky Lynch now, diba? A wrestler who, while great, is also very polarizing, diba? Yung accusations na Becky Hogan, she didn't let that die down with this song kasi it's really just iconoclastic in its appeal, na parang larger than life song siya, yes, pero hindi din siya tugma with all the other wrestling songs that are out there today. So the fact that it's written by a band that's known and the fact that it's used by a wrestler that's as equally known is why I picked this to be my theme song of the year.
Good writing as well on the Wonder Years part kasi ang daming parinig and ang daming shout out to things in Becky's life. Even her family is actually shouted out in the song. So yan. As for kami nina Emil and Ro, our pick is Glamorous Forever, yung theme song ni Blake Monroe, the Sabrina Carpenter Jace Def Rebel track, which, man, it is a bop. Like when Blake won the Women's North American Championship, I was actually singing on commentary. Like that's how much I love this song.
I love watching her entrance. Yeah, her entrance is one of the best. No, because
Okay, Gunner E.
no, but again, the song adds to it, diba? Sobrang bop niya.
Yeah.
I cannot yet prove that it was written by AI, only that I can tell you that it sounds like AI. But even the thing about AI music is, even though you can kind of tell that it's not being sung by an actual human, when you have the right melody, when you have the right composition, it still could be a bop, diba? And it's really good. Like, I've even seen memes of people, wrestling fans, mga kalalaking tao na workout sa gym pero yung nasa headphones sila yung theme ni Blake. So that's how good it is, and how not, full of L's. Di naman laging pumapalyas yan si Def Rebel here.
Yeah. I do use wrestling themes in my workout playlist, and I think this song is already on there sa Spotify ko. So, respect to everybody who needs wrestling themes to hype them up, because at this point, you need anything to hype you up at the gym.
Sure.
Diba? Okay, next up, let's get back to the actual wrestlers. We're going to shout out the mid-carders in this next category, the men's mid-carder of the year. So not quite there yet at the main event, but really holding it down in their respective territories. I'm going to start with mine, and that is LA Knight. I think na his durability, availability, consistent ability to just capture the crowd and deliver sa ring, deliver on TV, makes him deserving of some love at the end of the year. I believe sa stats, LA Knight has the most televised wins in 2025. I could be wrong. But his name was up there sa rankings basically towards quarter 3 pa lang and it stayed consistent until quarter 4 up until he got tsunamied by the Vision on Monday Night Raw in mid-December. So yun, that's why for me LA Knight deserves a lot of love here in this category. Let's go to Emil for his pick.
All right, my pick is Ilya Dragunov. I know the sample size here is little kasi kakabalik lang niya. But man, he's putting out bangers each and every week right now on SmackDown as the United States champion. That's the thing that I look forward to the most. SmackDown recently, yung mga US Open title matches niya, because all of them are really great. I haven't seen one that wasn't so good. All of them were good to great. So yeah. I'm just glad that he's back because he's been away for quite a while. So now that he's back, he's delivering bangers left and right here. So he's my mid-carder of the year.
Dapat na kawaii technicality ka, hindi siya umabot sa minimum games eh.
Oo nga, no?
Damn it, Emil. Eto, Chino, this pick I'm sure umabot sa kawaii minimum.
Yeah, my pick goes out to Dominic Mysterio. I think as far as heels are concerned, number 1 siya sa libro, right? And that's just as a heel. Let's talk about his in-ring work. Let's talk about how he got 2 of John Cena's final matches in his run. Let's talk about how he's working the main event title scene sa AAA, diba? And how he's a double champion now. One of 3 double champions in the WWE, if I'm not mistaken. So the fact that he's been doing all this work and has all these accomplishments at such a young age is really deserving of him to be called a mid-carder, the best mid-carder of the year. Pero I'm pretty sure papunta na siya sa title picture or main event picture in a few years' time.
Mm-hmm. All right. How about you, Ro?
My pick is someone Emil mentioned earlier. It's Kyle Fletcher, the Proto Star. I think Emil already mentioned everything, every reason why he is a mid-carder of the year. Breakout. It was his breakout. And if you haven't been paying attention to Kyle Fletcher now, you totally should because you might be missing out.
All right. Eto, the women's mid-carder of the year. Syempre, the women deserve some love too. I'll start with mine again because for the second year in a row, I'm giving this award to Chelsea Green. She has done such a great job in the Women's United States Championship picture, and now she's a mixed tag champ with Ethan Page in AAA mixed tag team championship run niya. The fact that she put on such a spotlight dun sa role niya and verbalized it well on WWE Unreal, diba? And even in interviews with Chris Van Vliet saying na, I don't mind kung mukha akong gago, kung mukha akong tanga on TV. That's still TV time. And she understands very well that that's very valuable real estate. Kahit talo siya, kahit na tapon siya sa basurahan, she has pie on her face, she gets creamed on TV, ginagawa niyang joke and whatever, diba? And she gets rewarded for it because now she's a 2-time Women's United States champion. She's a double champ. Meron siyang merch, yung hat niya, diba? Na ang tagal niyang pinitch sa merchandising until finally she was actually able to make it work. She secured the supplier and was able to link them up with freaking fanatics to make that sellable product on WWE Shop. This woman works overtime and I really love that for Chelsea Green, and I think kita naman that she's reaping the rewards of it. For our next awardee, sige, let's go to Chino for Women's Mid-Carder of the Year.
Yeah, my Women's Mid-Carder of the Year is Jordan Grace. Jordan Grace is a top pick from TNA. Nasulot siya, or sorry, hindi naman siya nasulot. She left willingly. So, the fact that she
everyone
was
leaves willingly.
Diba? She was on NXT. Okay, fine. To fair. Wala namang napapayagit talaga. So, but the fact that she was in NXT and still hasn't won the championship is the only reason why she's my mid-card of the year. Kasi every time she goes out, puts out bangers, diba? She showcases the best of herself and the best of her opponents. And it really goes to show kasi veteran na siya in the industry at this point. So that's why I picked Jordan Grace.
Mm-hmm. All right. Emil, who's your pick?
All right, my pick is the first ever Women's Intercontinental Champion, Lyra Valkyria, and it's because of her Intercontinental Championship reign. Sobrang, I know people, some people kind of slept on her reign, but to me, it was the perfect first reign. Diba? She had a lot of bangers against Bailey, against Becky Lynch, diba? That feud in general. So, and she really elevated herself this year. Sobrang ganda kasi, kaka-call up niya last year, but this year is really when she broke out on the main roster. And now, kahit wala na siyang titles, she's still consistently getting TV time, and she's in a program right now na, is getting a lot of TV time. So, good for Lyra.
All right, Ro?
Mine is from AEW, Willow Nightingale, who is I would say, low-key anchor of the women's division over there, to the point that they had to get her a championship with the women's tag team championship in AEW. So a lot of other people were elevated, like Mercedes, like Chris Statlander as well. Pero nobody had been doing as much hard work as she does, because she is like one of the top faces that they have, but only one can be at the top talaga.
All right. Our next category is Manager of the Year. And there was a time when we actually called this the Paul Heyman Manager of the Year Award. And I think it's time to bring it back to Paul Heyman. He's my pick because the man had an entire WrestleMania main event match revolve around him.
Oh, custody of Paul Heyman.
It was basically a custody of Paul Heyman match.
Paul
diba?
Heyman on a pole match.
Yeah. He was the driving force for basically an entire year of WWE storylines, from the CM Punk Seth Rollins feud down to the Vision, diba? Ang daming moving parts in the Paul Heyman cinematic universe, and yet he's managed to be consistently relevant and at the top of the game despite not even taking a bump, and his storytelling ability still on point, diba? So now medyo challenging role niya, syempre, because he has to elevate these younger talent like Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, presumably Austin Theory if he's part of the Vision, syempre Logan Paul, diba? Integrating him into a more full-time role. And it's fun to watch as somebody who's been a long-time fan of Paul Heyman, and that's why he's my Manager of the Year. Emil, who's yours?
All right, so my Manager of the Year goes out to AEW's Don Callis. I know I've said bad things about Don Callis on the podcast, but
Eat your words!
he really, parang this year was kasi ang dami na nila sa Don Callis family, and Don Callis is almost at every segment, because like there's always someone from his family either having a match or having a promo. So he stacked up on his talents. Diba? He got Okada this year.
Si Andrade nga nandun for one day.
Yeah, for one day. Takashita is there. Roppongi Vice. Sino ba? Hechicero is now in the Don Callis family. Cal Fletcher. So he really stacked up on his family this year. So he's getting my Manager of the Year award.
I wanted to comment on Don Callis because he's also one of my picks for Manager of the Year. It's not just that he leveraged his booking to appear in everything and to grow the Don Callis family. It's really also that he's not just a cartoony villain manager. Like, meron din siyang subtle nuances, like how he wants to protect both Takeshita and Okada despite them not being on the same page. He understands why he has to have a cartoonishly large faction and stable of villains on his team. He's working overtime today. He's doing a lot of legwork to make his character make sense. And I think he is the Paul Heyman equivalent on AEW at this point. Not as good as Heyman on the mic, but both a good creative force and a solid mic guy.
Oh, saka, I'm amazed na hindi pa gumagaling yung sugat niya dun sa ulo niya.
No, that's legit. That's legit, though.
That's been I think for 2 years now.
It's a legit scar.
Grabe naman. 2 years? Di pa rin
It's a scar, dude. No, it's a scar.
Oh, Chino, who's your pick?
My pick we gotta show some love to the local scene. So my pick goes out to Legendarius of FPW. He is a self-styled self-help / cult leader na din at this point. And he started out getting mad heat from all the douchey things he'd say on the mic. Diba? But he was able to, with those douchey things, he was able to transition two wrestlers out of the mid-card in the former Brad Cruz, Jason Rex, and AB3, and turn them into viable monsters now. So the fact that he was able to do that, and now that he's also showing his wares in the ring, really is deserving of some recognition. So that is why my pick goes out to Legendarius.
Ro?
My pick is Stokely Hathaway from AEW as well. Big Stoke has had um, a lot of stops and starts, not just in AEW but also in WWE. Like it's like they couldn't find the right people to team with him, to partner up with him. But he finally found his stride with FTR. Because it turns out FTR had always wanted him to be to be their manager, kahit nung nasa WWE pa sila. And now that he's found some stability in his on-screen career, he's really taken off. He is also low-key one of the meme machines on AEW programming, every collision, diba? And I feel like I wanted to honor that because he really is good. He just needed to find the right pairing of a talent, whether it's a single star or a team. And I'm glad that he finally found FTR, and they found each other on screen.
It's not like FTR needed someone to talk for them, pero I think maganda yung dynamic na inad ni Stokely sa team nila. Let's go to Face of the Year. Sino ba yung pinaka-compelling baby faces that people got behind? My pick is the husband and wife pairing of CM Punk and AJ Lee. And sure, AJ Lee doesn't meet the Kawhi Leonard minimum requirement, but Punk has been at the top of his game all year as a babyface. At this point that we're recording, his second run in WWE is longer than his stint with AEW. And parang near universal appeal or near universal yung approval rating rather ni CM Punk, especially now that he's in a top spot. He's world heavyweight champion. Yes, he's a bit more corporate, wearing suits when the occasion calls for it, but CM Punk still is very much a man of the people. Alam niya yung pulso, alam niya yung kiliti ng crowd, and there isn't a wrestling fan out there who probably want to boo CM Punk at this point.
Sure there is. There still are.
Oh, sure. Probably some of the sickos who are angry over his departure.
Yeah, but you're actually right. Not because of the departure, but because of personal reasons.
Right. Oro, who's your face of the year?
My pick of the week. My face of the year is I believe I don't think we ever considered a woman here yet, but my pick is Io Sky. She has played the babyface character, sometimes in peril, sometimes as a hero, perfectly. I don't see anyone who wants to hate Io. Going from her initial heelish characters, especially from a couple of years back, talagang she established herself and cemented herself as one of the most endearing superstars in all of wrestling. I don't think anyone can. I don't think a lot of people can argue with that.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you for picking my bias. Chino, who's your face of the year?
My face of the year, and I believe it should be everybody's face of the year. It's the GOAT. It's the never seen 17. It's John Cena. Now, I know he started the year off as a heel, but ever since Cody beat some sense into him, he just went on and put everybody over, diba? Like from the Judgment Day, AJ Styles and everybody else I've forgotten in between. The fact that he was able to pay so many homages to his love of wrestling in the last few matches that he's had really goes to show that level of respect he has for the industry and for the fans that watch the product after so many years, diba? So John Cena doing the Lord's work out there on his way out is really the only reason I believe he's the face of the year.
And Ro?
That was me.
Ay,
Emil.
Sorry, Emil pala.
So my face of the year is Hangman Page. I know he was a heel at the first half of the year, but doon nagsimula yung redemption story niya. And I get this.
Parang pareho sinabi ni Chino.
No, for
May
AEW.
deja vu ako dun.
No, for AEW, yeah.
Okay.
His redemption run is one of the best things on TV this year. And I rooted the most for Hangman talaga to beat the Death Riders for the title.
Finish the story.
To finish the story on to borrow someone else's quote. So yeah, it's ang ganda ng story niya this year. Very compelling. Kasi sometimes in wrestling, diba, heel to face turns, parang sometimes biglaan lang yun. Okay, he's a good guy, agad-agad. But here, na dissect yung character niya na there were some things that he had to apologize for. There were some things na inadmit niya na he did wrong as a heel. So parang ang galing lang. Like, he's the most human character in pro wrestling. And that's why he's my face of the year.
That's a good pick. That's a good call, Emil.
I really should include that sa soundboard. Okay, kung may face of the year, dapat may heel of the year. So, I'm gonna start with Seth freaking Rollins na medyo nakalimutan natin because he's been injured as of late. But I still think that the stuff he did from the Paul Heyman turn nung WrestleMania until the ruse of the century, sobrang kupal kung kupal, diba? To the point that even Becky Lynch went on record to say that she didn't want to be a part of the ruse of the century. It was such a dick move, diba? Na people were actually questioning, parang, should we even be doing this? Should wrestlers be allowed to go on shows like the Rich Eisen show, a sports show, and claim na, oh yeah, I'm actually injured, and then go on to SummerSlam and wrestle as if you weren't injured.
And work the workers then. Work the fellow
and work their fellow workers. Nobody knew yung real status ni Seth other than, I guess, Becky, LA Knight, and Triple H, and whoever the hell else, diba? Some people would say that it was a master class in heel work. Other people would say that you're probably taking it a step too far. At this point, I still don't know where I stand in all of this. All I know is I was very much fascinated with this entire thing, and that's why Seth is my heel of the year. Ro, who's yours?
No, my pick, my heel of the year is still also my hater of the year. It's Drew McIntyre for much of the same reasons why he was my hater of the year.
All right. Emil, who's your heel of the year?
My heel of the year is Jon Moxley. This is really the first time na naging hateable siya. Kasi all throughout his career, he's always been yung lovable babyface, yung lunatic fringe, and his early days in AEW. But this is really when he channeled his heel energy the most this year. Kasi
not when he wore the mask. Yung nagpaturok siya sa puwet?
God, I forgot that. God, yeah.
People hated Mox then.
I'd rather forget that face of Jon Moxley. But this is really when he truly channeled his heel and his heelness, and really thrive on it. Diba? And I know I criticized the Death Riders story so much this year, but ang ganda kasi nung second half nung story eh. Diba? Once they finally had something, once they finally had an end goal in mind, Jon Moxley really turned up his shit and really worked his ass off. And even up until the point where hindi na siya champion, but he was pulling over guys like Kyle O'Reilly, Roddy Strong, diba? Ang galing, ang ganda ng work niya this year. So that's why I'm picking Jon Moxley.
All right, Chino.
My heel of the year goes out to the one and only Dirty Dominic Mysterio. El Sucio Dominic Mysterio, the double champion. I like his work, even though people are saying that he's ripping off his father, Eddie Guerrero. The fact that he's out there doing it, paying homages to both Eddie and DeRay, despite their tumultuous history, really just goes to show na he's the next in line of the great WWE luchadors, diba? The next in line to bring that Latin American flag up to the WWE. Kasi he's not only is he a heel, but he's also a heel that does Latinx heel things. And to me, that it's an important representation in the WWE nowadays, especially at such a high place on the card. So that's why he's my heel of the year.
All right. Next, we've got Tag Team of the Year. Wala akong pick, so I'll just ride with Ro's pick because I can kind of see the argument for this one. So let him have it, Ro.
All right, my pick, again, we did not honor women before this, but my pick for Tag Team of the Year is Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, mostly because of how good the story was and because they ended up being tag champions. through that story, through the character development in Charlotte, diba? Charlotte like developed the most as a character because uh, she had also been kneecapped the most by her previous character, her on-screen personality, diba? So I enjoy this pairing. They have a lot of chemistry together as themselves, as their bratty selves. It's clear that they're gonna be tag teaming for quite a while longer. I don't think they have any foreseeable plans of a breakup just yet, and I do want to see more of this. I do want to see how this blossoms into an elite level tag team with Charlotte far away, or far away, but a little ways away from the top singles women's titles.
Yeah, yeah. Seeing these two be Bratinelas, diba? Despite not being young compared to like the rest of the roster. Nakakatuwa. Ang cute ng dynamic nila. Chino, who's your tag team of the year?
So my tag team pick of the year goes out to Chelsea Green and Ethan Page, the greatest North Americans. I like this because number one, I am a fan of both of theirs individually, but also because of the prominence that they've brought back to mixed tag team wrestling. Kasi diba before, hindi siya masyadong siniseryoso, right? It's a thing that's just there. It's a halftime show at this point, right? But then dumating tong AAA mixed tag titles, they brought some relevance back to it, and Ethan Page and Chelsea Green are out there doing hard work, and it really goes to show with each and every match. Their last title defense against Joe Henry and Thea Hale really proves that there's something to be said about intergender tag team wrestling. So that is why they are my tag team of the year.
And Emil?
Right, so my tag team of the year goes out to Brodido from AEW. This was just a thrown together tag team, but they really clicked. Yeah. They had a lot of bangers throughout the year. They even won the tag team championships off of the Hurt Syndicate, and they had a good run as well as tag champs. So iba like so, they had this chemistry together that really just works. You know, like para siyang faction din in a way. Ganun din na you got these two individuals and then they were paired together and somehow magic happened. And so that's why Brodido is my tag team of the year.
Yeah, we're down to our last few categories. Female Wrestler of the Year. Kami ni Emil, we share our pick. So let's get to that. It's Io Sky. And we've said a lot na about Io at this point. You can't not root for her. Wala siyang palye. Walang tapon. Every Io Sky match has been a grade A banger. And I couldn't see myself picking anyone else for this category.
Yeah, Io Sky just what a year. One of the happiest moments this year for me as a wrestling fan was when she won the Women's World Championship against Rhea Ripley. Because before that, I was just hoping, okay, just make the match like just have the match be no contest para lang ma-insert si Io sa match sa WrestleMania, because I really wanted her to get a spot in that match. Tas yun, nanalo pa siya. She even won the title. So I was so stoked that one, she's champion, and one, she's probably going to be in the match at WrestleMania, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Spoiler alert. So just the fact that she got to that spot and she really ran with it throughout the year. Yeah, ang ganda nung simula na yun, and the momentum that she got from that moment, it was nadala niya until the end of the year with now competing for the tag team championships with Rhea Ripley. So this is her best year so far in the main roster. So congrats to Io Sky.
All right. Chino?
My female wrestler of the year goes to the one and only JC Jane, the only double champ in NXT at of the certain point, and then it's not enough that she was double champion. She also lost the title and won it back. So now she's a multiple-time NXT Women's Champion, which is a very rare feat. Now, a lot of people are saying this is an overcorrection for what they've put JC Jane through with Fatal Influence and now Toxic Attraction. But the fact remains that they wouldn't put so much faith in her and put so much weight on her shoulders if they didn't believe in her talent. And I certainly believe in her talent to the point that I am making her my female wrestler of the year.
Sige, Ro, who's your pick?
My pick for female wrestler of the year, I, w- I thought someone was going to answer Mercedes Money, but no. My pick goes to Japan. It's Sarai, aka FKA Sarai from WWE NXT. She is now a free agent in Japan this after having been signed to Marigold for over the past year. She's been going out left and right. Winning top championships, performing balls out to the highest degree, to the highest level. If you're not watching Sarai matches, you're missing out. This is the person rather that Triple H tried to sign and hoard for himself in WWE, but got caught in the crossfire between the regimes, if you will. So you can kind of call it a revenge tour, like the way she is balled out in Japan and in some parts of the US here. I feel like she is due for another huge run in a big company. I just don't know which. I don't know if she is traumatized enough to ever return to WWE, but I hope that they do give it a shot, especially after the handling of Io Sky and the rest. And but I also wouldn't be opposed to her trying out in AEW. And I feel like she is a super underrated then na pick that a lot of people should pay more attention to if it were more accessible.
All right, male wrestler of the year. Let's go to Emil and Rose since they share the same pick here.
Yeah, give me go na.
All right, so our pick for male wrestler of the year goes out to Bandido. And if you've been listening to this podcast, I have been saying over and over again whenever there's a Bandido match that is in the picks of the week, he is a strong contender for male wrestler of the year, and that's ayun na. What a year, what a comeback year. First of all, what a comeback year for Bandido kasi di ba injured siya last year. He returned at the end of last year, and by God, the year that he had, being the ROH World Champion as well. I know most people doesn't really watch Ring of Honor, but whenever he would have a title match, it's always a must watch. Diba? His matches against Takeshita, against Mascara Dorada, diba? In CMLL and also in Ring of Honor. His tag team work with Brody King. So, na-elevate si Bandido this year talaga. And I am looking forward to seeing more of him in AEW, possibly competing for titles now because he has so much momentum heading into the next year. So, but then again, I'll give him props for a hell of a year this year. A lot of bangers, a lot of 5-star bangers from him. So, he's our male wrestler of the year.
Chino?
My male wrestler of the year, begrudgingly, goes out to CM Punk. Now,
I'm begrudgingly.
So
I
he
don't
was a
like
hater.
Punk.
Yeah, he's a
I
hater.
don't
Alright.
like Punk.
Alright.
I do not like Punk, but game recognizes game. Yun na lang.
Alright.
I know, despite me being a number
Wow.
one Phil hater, I know that he was
Wow.
out there to prove a point and he asked for the spotlight. He got the spotlight. And he just ran with it. He ran with the ball, and I have to commend that.
And hindi siya na-injure this year.
Oh, diba? Hindi siya na-injured this year. He wasn't out for 6 months after like a hard match, diba? He was out there. He wanted to prove a point. He proved this point, and I gotta commend that. He's still your champion. He's still part of a main event storyline. He did that whole thing with Seth Rollins in the middle of the year, which was great. Sayang hindi natapos, but I'm sure they're gonna circle back to that as soon as Seth is healthy. Meanwhile, I think CM Punk is doing great work this year, so that's why he's my male wrestler of the year.
Mm-hmm. So we've talked a lot about my male wrestler of the year, which is Dirty Dominic Mysterio. So I won't say much other than yung schedule niya sobrang tindi compared to the rest of his counterparts because he's basically working 2 promotions and he gets such a loud reaction wherever he goes. And Dom is the future. You say all you want about Braun Breaker, but you can't bring up that class without also mentioning Dirty Dominic Mysterio. Next, we've got the feud of the year. And I'm going to start with mine because medyo off-kilter yung pick ko. And that's John Cena versus the schedule. Or John Cena versus time. So even Cena himself has said dun sa mga interviews niya with sina Tom Rinaldi and Chris Van Vliet and Bill Simmons na he wanted to do a retirement tour na 220 dates and tell all these stories. And instead, he just had 36. And dun palang dehado na siya eh. Diba? That's why some people will tell you na the heel run felt unsatisfying. That's why some people felt na ang rush or parang ang unearned raw yung Grand Slam or whatever. People wanted more of John Cena. And even ito, diba, with people still bitching about him tapping out to Gunther. And it was all really, for me, a consequence of John Cena and the schedule. Just not, being on the same page. Diba? I don't know who to blame. And I'm not sure I even want to blame anyone. It's just one of those things. It is what it is. So it really took up a lot of the wrestling discourse over this past year. And that's why I think the feud of the year was really John Cena versus the schedule.
Real quick comment on that. People are comparing it to Tanahashi kasi. And how Tanahashi is able to wrestle his ass off. That's because he is only focused on NJPW as the president, as a full-time wrestler. Diba? Like, it's not the same thing talaga.
Yeah. Cena has so many other commitments outside of wrestling. So yeah, it's not the same. Ro, what's your feud of the year?
Chino and I share the same feud of the year. It is Mariah May versus Timeless Tony Storm that ended earlier this year, which will also foreshadow my match of the year pick. You can tell talaga when, as a wrestler, as a wrestler in the business, speaking from experience, you can tell when both members or all parties of a feud, of a storyline, are in sync and in tune with each other. And there is really no two people more in sync with one another than Tony and Mariah. Like, we'll talk about the curse some other time if the time ever calls for it. But right now in Mariah's young career, this might be the peak, and I don't know if she'll ever overcome this peak.
Man.
Damn.
Gino, what do you got to say?
Honestly, I can see why Rose said that because this was blood feud at its highest here. Patayan kung patayan, diba? Words were exchanged, characters were changed, and this whole thing really catapulted Mariah May onto a level that she's never seen before. Diba? This is the storyline that got the WWE to pay attention to her. Diba? This was what got her signed. Diba?
Yes.
The good work that she put out with Toni Storm, and now she's a former Women's North American champion. So di mo din you can't take away from this feud there because it did its work. Diba? Both women were on the same page with where they wanted it to go, diba? In terms of direction, in terms of winnings, character arcs, and all that. Ang gandang tuldok lang din. Like, it's a good way to end Mariah May's run on AEW. So that's why this one is the feud of the year for us.
All right. Chino tuloy. Emil, what's your feud of the year?
Right, so my feud of the year is the AEW Babyface Coalition against the Death Riders. The coalition that I'm talking about here is Hangman, Will, and Swerve. And also the Ops, diba? If you watch the story, how it unfolded this year, diba? Ang daming cinema, daming moments. Remember that promo that Will Ospreay, parang pinakiusapan niya si Swerve and Hangman to work together for the greater good. Ang daming moments na ganun eh. Ang daming unity moments within
Unity.
I know that was gonna get
Ubusin!
Wala ko nun. Alright, ang daming moments na united silang lahat against the Death Riders, and that's what it took, to take down the Death Riders at all in. Yeah, that was the UN, which ultimately led to Hangman winning the World Championship, and also the Swerve and Will beating the Young Bucks for the EVP titles, which was a good side story to that feud. So, ang ganda lang. This was parang their equivalent of of Cody and the gang versus the Bloodline a year ago. So, I don't want to compare the two of them because they have their own pros and cons, but this is by far my favorite program of the year, favorite feud.
All right. Next up, we've got the story of the year, or the storyline of the year, na iba pa sa feud of the year. I'm gonna pick the Rio storyline kasi Rhea and Io, they started off as rivals, diba, over the Women's World Championship, and then the mutual respect blossomed into friendship. Na for some people, they read it as low-key lesbian coded, and then
Loki.
Di Loki yun.
There's nothing Loki about this relationship anymore.
Kulang na maglaplapan
Oh,
sila.
I mean, it's not on the same level as Tony and Mina.
No, it's
Fair.
it's not low key, but it's also not as prominent. But it is still kind of queer baiting.
And then with Rhea and Io being best friends, diba, na nandyan din yung wrinkle of the Kabuki Warriors, specifically Asuka, coming in between them, diba, the whole senpai kohai relationship being brought to the forefront. Asuka actually having to film a YouTube video to explain that dynamic and why Kairi's behaving the way she's behaving, why Io's behaving the way she's behaving, and why Asuka's reacting that way, and how Rhea, as a literal and figurative outsider, is figuring into all of this. It's such a dynamic story that didn't even involve any championships. So it was very fun to call and to translate for and to witness this year. So kaya yun yung favorite story ko. And I wanted to show more love to the women din. Kaya this was my pick. Emil, you mentioned your feud of the year, and it's very much connected to your storyline of the year.
Yes, it goes hand in hand but my favorite is the Hangman redemption story. I already explained kanina when I was making my pick for face of the year, so I won't say much about it anymore. So yeah, what a story! What a redemption story for Hangman Page.
Mm-hmm. Chino, what's your pick of the year? Storyline of the year.
My storyline of the year is something that ends on a good note. It's Jey Uso winning the big one at WrestleMania 41. Number one, memorable siya sa akin kasi I was there. I remember it happening. Number two, it's also very unexpected to see somebody not only be separated from his longtime tag team partner, but also go over in such a captivating manner. Diba? Everybody the world over was yeeting whenever he'd go out. Minsan kumakain pa siya ng 10 minutes kaka-yeet niya. Right? But it didn't matter. It didn't matter because we were still out there doing it with him. Diba? And that just goes to show kung gaano siya charismatic na tao. So much so that they decided to put the championship on him. So I love that part of Jey Uso's career. He will still be remembered as a former world heavyweight champion despite what the internet and everybody else will say. Pero and that to me is still just a very poignant part of the wrestling year.
Mm-hmm. All right, Ro?
Mine is connected to this as well, but the after effects na ito. So my story of the year, it's still ongoing, is the current ongoing fall of Jon Moxley. So it's currently a little slower right now thanks to the Continental Classic, but since the loss to Hangman at All In, Mox has tapped out quite a number of times to the likes of Darby Allin and even his own stablemate in Claudio Castagnoli, and you can see the cracks finally forming. It's a little too premature to name this, but I think also that the larger picture, the longer term story had also been going on for a while that I think it also should count na rin. I could be eating my words by this time next year, but I do like how they are approaching this. I do like how it's a slow burn, how you're forced to pay attention to it every week, what Moxley is saying, what Moxley is doing, what's happening to Moxley, how the Death Riders around him are reacting to him. And it is one of those stories that rewards a careful attention to detail.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're down to our final award, Match of the Year. Dito magkakadebatehan ng mga listeners natin. But as we said at the top of the podcast, this is all very much subjective. We like what we like, and that's it. Let's start with Emil, who picked a match that I was going to pick until the very last moment.
And so my match of the year and goes out to the triple threat at WrestleMania for the women's world championship. Sorry, it's Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky versus Bianca Belair. That I think this opened day 2 of WrestleMania 41. like I said kanina, when I was explaining yung pick ko for Io Sky, I was just praying before that title match between Rhea and Io na either maging no contest yung match or maging no contest lang yung match so that she could be inserted. So I was so happy that when she won, and that momentum carried all the way to WrestleMania 41. These three are just the best of their generation, of their batch. Kasi given na yung four horsewomen, but they were sila yung next generation eh. And they are the best of their generation. And my God, what a match! What a match! This was a fast-paced match. A lot of a lot of good spots, a lot of great spots, and it ended up again with an Io win, which again surprised me. Diba? I was expecting by this point kasi at defeated pa si Bianca Belair by this time eh. For WrestleMania, diba? She's like 4-0.
Yeah.
So I was expecting Bianca to win. But I was so happy when Io Sky retained the Women's World Championship. And I want to see a rematch of this at some point. Kasi these three just have magic together. So, and I was looking at my list and wala nang ibang match na had me feeling this way. The feeling that I felt watching this match. So this is my pick.
Mm-hmm. Chino, what's your pick for match of the year?
My pick for match of the year came out on the same day, actually. O hindi, magkaibang day yata to.
Day one nata ito.
Yes. Okay. So this was day one's main event. It is the Paul Heyman on the pole match between Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk. Number one, the main reason I picked it because I was there against it's WrestleMania 41 will always remain with me as an audience member of that massive crowd there. Pero the fact that I got to see it unfold before my eyes, the sequences and the finishers that they hit on each other, diba? And the final unfolding of Paul Heyman switching sides in the last 15 minutes of that match really goes to show that wrestling can be high drama as well. Diba? It can be fast-paced, it can be hard-hitting, but it can also be Shakespeare. So that is why I picked this as my match of the year.
Ro?
My pick, as I foreshadowed earlier, is the Hollywood ending, Mariah May versus Toni Storm in a death match. It's got everything, as Stefan would say. You have your carnage, you have your blood, you have weapon-based violence, and syempre, you have the story. You have the relationship, the drama between these two women, and of course, the actual Hollywood ending where these two exhaust each other, spend themselves destroying each other in the final act of love, diba? Love and hate between the two women. And that will be the last time we see Mariah in AEW. She would go to WWE. And it was a good ending to end. If you were just fully paying attention to the Mariah May portion of Mariah's career. And Toni Storm also isn't quite the same afterwards. Parang nag-jump din ng shark yung gimmick niya. In a lot of ways, it kind of felt like the peak for both women. And I think it's mostly because it was such a cathartically violent match that it ended up like having the effect of being the real bookend to their careers.
Ito ba yung nagbugbugan sila na may bubog sa kamay para sila?
Yeah.
Ito ba yun?
Yeah, they both ended up really bloody here. Anto,
Yeah.
this is the perfect Def Leppard match when love and hate collide.
Right.
Gets you ni Tito Emil Nate.
Yes, I did. I love that song. I love that song.
Madalas
Alright,
ka pa sa beer house, Emil.
No, on the
Emil Nate
radio.
pa.
On the radio.
Pang
constantly.
beer house kasi yung hits ni Emil. Tara. My pick for match of the year as we close this out. John Cena versus AJ Styles at Crown Jewel Perth. What a love letter to wrestling. We've said this before, so I won't harp on it too much, but I just really enjoyed how they paid tribute and showed love to their respective rivals, yung mga moves nila. Cena bringing out yung surprise intro that he had Alicia Taylor read right before introducing AJ Styles. Sobrang good vibes lang niya. Like if Mariah May versus Toni Storm was talagang vitriol that was born out of love and passion. It was just pure love. pure good vibes. Diba? We were all there for it, and it was super fun. And bonus, we Filipinos got to watch this in our time zone.
Yeah,
So,
yung watch party namin was so much fun with this one.
yeah. So, yun. So much to love from this particular moment. I think this is one of my favorite parts of the John Cena retirement tour, especially now that we're able to step away from it and talk about it in the post-Cena era. So, yun. That's why John Cena versus AJ Styles, the final time, was my match of the year. And that, my friends, brings us to the end of the 12th annual Wrestling Podcast Year-End Awards. Petition to name this award show after John Cena.
Why?
Why not?
Why?
Because John Cena.
The Cenas.
why not?
I don't follow the logic, but we'll take it under advisement.
Yeah. Wala lang. Because John Cena has so many awards and shit. And because, greatest of all time, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I don't mind that. So,
We'll talk about it behind the scenes, but I just wanted to put it out there. So let us know what you think in the comments, either dito sa Spotify or on YouTube or on social media. It's at Wrestling Podcast on Facebook or Instagram, at Wrestling2XPod everywhere else. This is also going to be our last episode of the year, so by the time we all see and hear each other again, it will be 2026, and I hope that when that happens, buo pa rin yung mga daliri nyo, kumpleto pa rin sila, and that you're able to you're able to come away from the holidays happier, healthier, fuller, and full of love and joy as well.
Gusto ko lang sabihin quickly, because this is the last episode of the year, be on the lookout in January for my episode of Family Feud Philippines. Lumabas kami ni Mr. Rex Navarrete and Jeannie Likay and Diana Aronong of the Lady Bosses. We played against a couple of DJs from the local radio stations here. So, masaya siya. I won't say what happened, but I'm gonna say that I'm glad that nag-review ako bago ako umalis ng bahay. So,
Kailan yun lalabas?
it's gonna come out sometime in January. So,
exactly.
Abangan nyo na lang. Yeah.
All right.
As for me, if you like your Emily in Paris, go watch it on Netflix. Season 5 is out. I'm still part of the Tagalog voice cast for this season. I won't tell you how, where, or when I show up. Yun lang. That's it for the show. We'll see you next year, both at our watch parties and sa local wrestling scene. So have a good holiday season, Outcasts. On behalf of Romoran, Chino Liao, and Emil Nate, thank you, babyface producer Jasper. Thanks for catching the Wrestling Podcast. And as Cody Rhodes so eloquently put it,
Merry Christmas, ass!
we're out of here. Happy holidays, Outcasts.
Peace.